Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Christian Reyes Baculio, and I'm here with my partner, Mark Lester Magtayo. And for today's video, we're going to share what we have understood on Kierkegaard's insights on faith and the church's teachings, particularly in the discussion on the leap of faith. So, to begin with, we have come up with a claim that life is understandable through faith. And to support this claim, a Christian man has an advantage over a beast and a natural man because what a man ought to do has already been unveiled before him through revelation. And this claim, with this claim, one can object that a natural man and a beast have a sense of rationality to such an extent that they would not let themselves be entrapped in a uh, through credulity guided by faith alone. And if you would analyze that objection, the answer for that would be um, that the intelligibility of Christian revelation leaves us a path where our option is the leap of faith rather than a rational approach, like we're just basing with how we view things with a reason alone, in order to understand what we ought to do and how is it for us in our willingness to be our own selves despite the coinciding despair in our lives. So despite having the rationality that we acquire, one must also have faith because without faith, one will not have the willingness to be oneself, to be his oneself. So, Mark, do you have any ideas or something to say about that?
Hello. Yes, I have a take. On the on the reflection of Kierkegaard, about the leap of faith. So to back
Mm,
up our claim, or to be in line with our claim, in refusing or being reluctant to be a self, one is confronted with a worse despair that seems to be reducing the synthesis of the finite and the infinite, which is so implied in Kierkegaard's excerpt as eternal, uh, into nothingness. Uh, so to what or one may object that the eternal is something that is external to a self, and that it makes its own self. No, no, no. The eternal is something that is external to a self that makes its own self its sovereign, wherein he is free to decide wherever or whatever his path would be. So to answer this objection, or this possible objection, this eternal coincides with our finite selves, which is why we are in despair. And if I or if we are reluctant, that makes us refuse to be our own selves. We do not understand what life is, and more so, we are confronted by such a greater despair as a consequence. And so another support to our claim, in willing to be oneself, one is unified with the eternal, to whom the Christian faith believes, and in turn believes that God will forgive our sins, which potentiates despair, as I would like to Kierkegaard's as I would like to quote Kierkegaard's words. So one may object that man's age-old sin, which we so-called concupiscence, is unverified by reason, just as the God of Christianity is inaccessible by reason. So to answer this possible objection, the inaccessibility of God, who is the eternal and all-powerful uh, being, proves the use and authenticity of revelation, uh, to which it reveals God and what is sin thereof. Uh, so it unveils what a sin it really is, because uh, we are in not in not in not being in not adhering to the revelation, then one is ignorant with what sin is. And Otherwise, in not having faith with the revelation or in not having faith with it, uh, we may accrue or we may acquire what truly is and is, which is the opposite of faith. And that's all.
Okay, so from what we have discussed, uh, we can understand or realize that despair is present or inherent in man since the day that he was born. And with such a despair, despair can be encountered by man, and no one is exempted by it. Since since despair is like always present in man, man cannot deny that there would be he needs some faith to such a higher being, so that you know one might be enlightened with, or one can have the willingness to be oneself, so that he can be transparent to the power, or to he so that he can have such transparency with higher power. And so this uh to conclude this uh discussion, with the bombardment of despair in our lives, it may seem that life is meaningless. But with faith, life is then, or life can be then understandable, as it reveals the structure of our lives and how we ought to deal with it. So uh, I think that would sum up our discussion. Do you agree with that, Mark?
Yes, Christian, I think that encapsulates the discussion of Kierkegaard. And thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. It's nice to have a discussion with you. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
You too, Christian.